What's going on, YouTube? Back once again in the shed, yeah, because it's just too hot to go outside. The heat's been killing me. I've been about for a couple of days because something's been going on with my phone line, man. My internet's been spotty and on and off, and the phone people are up the road ripping the wires out. But hopefully it's all good today. But today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do a how-to video. In response to, I sent some snuff to a pal of mine, Uncle Willie. I think I did him a bit of a disservice, really, because I didn't really give him, knowing that he would never tried it before, I didn't really give him much guidance on how to do it. And thing is, I still feel like my channel's pretty insignificant, and I instantly think anyone that's watched my channel has got to be watching all the bigger channels, and therefore they would have seen, you know, a how-to video. I did have it in the back of my mind that I wanted to do one, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to make the ultimate one. I wanted to do all like edited and cutted and make it all fancy, but sod it. If I don't do it now, there's a chance I never will. So there's no right or wrong way to take snuff. Really, we're all different. We're all made different. People have their own preferences, and to be honest, taking snuff is a lot like sex. You know, some people like it on top, some people like it on the bottom, some people like getting their bollocks twisted off with a pair of pliers. Who am I to tell you what you should enjoy? Snuff's a bit like that. If you enjoy sniffing it up to your lungs and it gives you pleasure, then crack on. But there are always optimal ways to do things, and what you enjoy might not always be, you know, the most productive way. But yeah, so, you know, there's no wrong way. Everyone that I've seen basically tells you how to do it by how they do it, yeah. And the thing is there's no one way to take it. You're gonna adapt the way you take it dependent on the different types of snuff you take. So moist, coarse snuffs, you sniff harder. Dry, fine snuffs, you're gonna sniff softer, and then you're gonna get different different variants in between where you're gonna, you know, sniff harder or less. You get what I'm saying, don't you? And everything in between, as it were. Another thing I'd like to point out before I get into the meat of it is I'm kind of realising that there's people that might be watching my channel and they might not watch other snuff takers, and they're going by what I do. And I do sniff quite hard, but I would like to preempt this with, it's mainly down because I've got a dodgy nose. Yeah, ever since I was a kid, yeah, I could not close my mouth and breathe through my nose and not feel like I was suffocating. So I've always had something going on, had me aganoids taken out when I was a kid and all this kind of stuff. So my nasal cavity is quite narrow. So in order to get the snuff where I need it, personally, I need to sniff a little bit harder. But if you've got a wide open nose, you know, it's obvious you're not going to need to sniff as hard. So don't just copy what I do. That's my first thing that I would say to you. Sorry, Uncle Willie. Sorry. Feel like I let you down a little bit there, mate. Missed opportunity to be the smart one for a change. Number one, you're going to need a hanky. It's not going to be good if you don't have a hanky, so it's good to have a hanky. Number two, you're going to need a tin of snuff. So when it comes to the snuff, you're going to need to think about what sort of snuff you want. Be it flavours, the grind, the strength, the moisture. All these things affect it, and the reality is you're not going to know without experimenting. Probably the best bit of advice I can give you is go middle of the road, medium grind, medium moisture. See how you go from there. It's the best bit of advice I can give you on that. Third thing you need is kind of optional. It's something to take your snuff with. So that gets into like the ways to take it. And, you know, I will get some snuff to try and demonstrate a little bit. So, the box car. So you wrap your finger around your thumb like so and stick your thumb in the bottom. Then you sprinkle the snuff onto your finger. And it's basically good to go. Hold it up to your nose. Sniff. Job's a good one. And probably the most common way that people take it is to pinch. Pinch it up. You've got it pinched between your fingers, and as you put it to your nose, you kind of, as if you're sprinkling it. Do that kind of thing. Some people do it on the back of their hands. You know, you can either pull it as a pile or pull it as a line or whatever you do. And then sniff it like so. It works. And then the only other one I can think of is the anatomical snuff box, which is the bit of skin between your thumb and your index finger. Pile it up like so. And then sniff, much the same as the back of the hand. Albeit, I find it a little bit awkward. And then, the way I like to do it mainly because I get my hands dirty as hell and get snuffing under my nails and stuff like that, is to use a pipe knife, or, you know, there's all sorts of things you can use. I've used, like Simply Snuff does, a little snuff paddle. I've carved it into a little spoon before. A good thing I used for a long time is like, you know, like it's a cuticle thing that you get in like nail packs. So I nicked it off my missus, but it was like a metal handle with a spike on one end, but the other hand had like a shovel head to it. They work really well as a little snuff spoon. Or if you want, you can spin through the nose and get some fancy snuff spoon. Me, I like using a snuff spoon that's flat and wide. And as we get into the how hard you should snuff, I'll explain why. This is where a lot of the bits get confused. See, I sniff quite hard, but the reality is most people sniff very lightly, because where you're aiming for is you don't want it going any higher than the bridge of your nose. See, when I sniff it, I want it to get to about there, just to the top of my nose. I don't want to be feeling it hitting the back of my throat. If it's making you cough, it's gone too far. You're just pulling it up to the top of your nose here. Yeah? So, the reason why I like this flat knife is because I find it helps me control how I'm taking it. And the way I do that is, say I've got something really fine, I'll take a little bump on the end of my spoon, right? If it was really fine, it'd probably be a smaller bump than that. But then I will put the spoon flat to my nose, as if you're like doing this, blocking the air. So you can't sniff too hard. And then what I'll do is I'll tip the knife a little bit so that it slowly lets the air in. And then you can go. No matter how hard you sniff, it won't go all the way up because there's not a lot of air coming through. That's just my way of doing it. And I control it by tipping the knife and letting more air through as and when needed. But I like to get it in there and then a little second sniff just to knock it up to the bit where I want it. That's basically it in a nutshell. Takes a little bit of practice. Obviously, things can go wrong. I mean, they do. Don't think, yeah? I don't muck it up. There's been plenty of times where I've mucked it up on the camera. Because I'm on the camera, when I look for the eye twitch, it's because I took it up too high. But you know what I mean? It's like, look, it's nothing. It's like, you know, when you're drinking a drink and you can pick up that pint and you can neck it, but every now and again you'll pick up that pint and you'll go to drink it, but you'll inhale a little bit of it and you're like, swallowed it. Snuff's no different. Just because you muck it up every once in a while doesn't mean you're going to stop drinking, does it? And snuff's the same. Like, yeah, you muck it up every now and then. It happens. But, you know, you get the hang of it. I think it starts to bother you less anyway as time goes on. Right. Yeah, and the other thing is, in the beginning, you're going to sneeze, man. You're going to sneeze, you're going to cough, you're going to get it wrong. It's a learning process, isn't it? Honestly, the first time I got a pot of snuff, my missus was sat there crying on the end of the sofa. She was like, "What are you doing it to yourself?" Because I was taking a sniff, sneeze, 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 sneeze. But it took me like 2 days of that, and then it just settled down. My nose just gave up and went, okay, I suppose it's meant to be there. So, you know, yours may be longer, maybe less, but that's how it was for me. So, you know, there's 3 broad grinds to think about, and it's but it does come, you know, everything in between as well. But things like this, which is taxi, is basically the top end of the coarseness. That's how coarse it will get. And when you're sniffing things like this, you're going to need to sniff harder and even pinch the side of your nose because it's going to want to fall out. Then in the middle of that, you got the sort of medium grinds, and this is Diplomat, where it's a medium grind but a medium moisture as well. And this is probably, you know, you can still take it wrong, but it's probably the easier way to learn it. And then on the real fine side, you've got things like this, and this is White Elephant, and it is just dry and fine and high in nick. So before you go, I'll show you, right? When I take things like this, which are fine and dry, I have to knock my bumps down a lot more. I can take bigger bumps, but I'm just showing off. In all reality, the amount of nick that's in there. That's how it goes, but it's because I'm blocking the air off, so it looks like I'm sniffing it, but there's not enough air going through to push it all the way to the top. Whereas if I bump, you know, this, 6 taxi, I'll take big healthy bumps and you can sniff as hard as you want and it ain't going to go to the top. Because it's big, thick and coarse, but it will also fall out. So that's why I have to push it squeeze it, job's a good one. But I ain't gonna lie to ya. My head's kind of spinning on the old dick. Nah, I'm all good. I'm a trooper, nothing less. So, hopefully, I feel I said enough in that. And it doesn't mean I have to redo it. Hopefully there's something in that you could take from it. And, you know, remember, it's all about a bit of experimentation. Everyone's different. Yeah, nothing's right. There's only what's right for you. But I'm going to say, remember to tap, pinch, and toot, because there's 3 ingredients to your enjoyment, and your enjoyment is all I've got for you. So remember to come back to the shed. And until then, I shall bid you farewell.